Recording it?
Yep, I'm recording right now.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question, it's a couple parts. Were you raised in an urban or rural area?
It was between urban and rural. It was probably more rural. It was a city, but it wasn't a very big, it wasn't a large city. It was kind of in between urban and rural.
Well, which
It's
city?
in a-
Which city was it?
Alexandria, Louisiana. It's much bigger now than it was then.
How big was
And
it
I was
back
raised about 25,000. Oh no, it was probably more. I don't know, 20, maybe 50,000. It wasn't really big.
then?
I think I would say about 25,000. And now it's bigger, but I don't really know what the population is now. But it has grown. And then I spent all of my summers out in the country, basically, which is rural. And Rapides Parish was really a rural community.
Well, so when you
I
say in the
think-
country, where in the country?
At Magnolia Park, it was a family park. It was pool. It was a dammed up creek. There was a swimming pool, and it had camps, and it was like almost like one great big family. Everybody that had a weenie roast, and we used to make. Now they call them s'mores. We used to call them angels on horseback.
Angels
Do
on
you know what s'mores?
What'd you call it? Angels on horseback?
Angels on horseback. You know what s'mores?
Angels.
You know what s'mores are?
Mm-hmm.
We called them angels on horseback. And every time we would have a weenie roast, or we would have s'mores, because you would roast the marshmallows. And everybody would be. It was like if one person had a party, everybody in the whole place was invited to it. So there were quite a few parties. Sometimes they were like weenie roast, and sometimes they were just ice cream parties. But it was pretty much a lot of parties, and some beautiful pine trees, and there were swings everywhere, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a very, very good way to raise children. You can't really do that too much now. It had big sand. They called them the sand hill, and it was a lot of sand, white sand. You could all go walk to and play in the sand, and they had a nice swimming pool. It was a dammed up creek with a lifeguard and diving boards, and we all learned to swim and to dive, and
What
it was just a really.
which parish? I don't know if it's changed or not. Which parish was Alexandria in?
Alexandria is in Rapides Parish, but Magnolia Park, where I spent all my summers, was in Grant Parish. We went there every single summer. The name of our camp was Bring Us In, because my maiden name was Bringhurst. I don't know whether you know that or not.
Mm-hmm, I do.
Well, the name of the camp was Bring Us In, because most people didn't say Bringhurst, they'd just say Bring Us.
How do you
In
spell
Rapides Parish.
how do you spell the parish that Alexandria was in? I didn't know that.
The parish that Alexandria is in,
Mm-hmm.
R-A-P-I-D. R-A-P-I-D. I don't know whether it's E-S or S.
I'll try both.
I don't guess that matters. You're not doing this for English, are you?
I'm doing it for one of my social work classes.
Oh, okay. Rapides Parish. And Magnolia Park was in Grant Parish.
How far in Alexandria, how far were you from Well, you were in like a town, right?
It
Alexandria
was
was a...
about 15 minutes, but at that time with cars, it took about not traffic, the cars themselves took about 30 minutes to get there.
How far, well, but Alexandria itself was a town, right? I mean, back then it was just like a town.
Alexandria was what?
Was Alexandria just like a little town? Or is it just like a city?
Well, it wasn't that small, but it wasn't nearly as big as it is now. They had it was on the river. It was on the Red River. And 2nd Street, they had the levee, and then they had 2nd Street, and then 3rd Street was downtown, and that's where they had all the stores. The 2 main stores were Welland's and Weiss and Goldring. That was like the Dillards.
And what were those names? What were the names of those?
Welland's, Wellans, and Weiss, I think it's EISS, could be IE, I'm not sure. And Goldring, GOLDRING. S, Rice and Goldrings. They were the 2 main department stores, but then they had Cress's and Woolworth and, all those stores in between.
What was the nearest? Where was the nearest city?
What'd you say?
Where was the nearest?
What?
The nearest city?
The nearest city, big city?
Yes, ma'am.
Would be Baton Rouge.
Did you ever go to Baton Rouge when you were younger? Did y'all go there a lot?
We went to Baton Rouge to see the Capitol, and then we had relatives in Baton Rouge. Occasionally, we went to see them. Not too often. We went to Franklin a lot, to my grandmother's. My mother was born in Franklin, Louisiana, which is in Acadia, which is in the Cajun country. But her name is O'Neill, so they were Irish in the Cajun country.
Cajun country.
It is mostly Acadia. Don't you remember the people that came down from Canada? From Acadia?
So you was it Franklinton or Acadia Parish, or is it?
No, it's in St. But it's the people came down from Acadia, and now they're called Cajuns, but it's originally Acadians.
Oh, got it. And that was in Franklinton, right?
That was in Franklin, not Franklinton. Franklinton's a totally different place. Franklin. Franklinton's in, I don't know where I know where it is, but it's near Baton Rouge, I guess. But that's different. It's a small town. A very small town, I think.
Okay. Next question. What type of medical facilities were available?
Oh, they had very many. They had 2 hospitals, Baptist and Cabrini, which was Our Lady of Cabrini. I think that's it was St. Francis Cabrini. But it was built, I was a little older when it was built. The main one was Baptist when I was very little. I guess Cabrini may not have been built till I was a teenager. Mostly, I think it was Baptist. And we had lots of doctors, but the doctors made house calls in those days. So if you were sick, they came to you. But they had clinics, and there was no shortage of doctors. They had eye doctors and ear doctors, and that's the only kind I ever went to, the eye doctor and the ear doctor and the general practitioner.
So if you're so when your grandma was sick, did she go to the hospital or?
When my grandmother was sick, Yes, they had hospitals in New Iberia. They went to hospitals, but usually she stayed at home. Actually, when she was very old, my uncle Mac got her a hospital bed and nurses for her so that she could stay at home where she would be more comfortable and be around everything familiar. Because she was old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember my grandmother being sick that much, really.
What
And then when
what year, like what years was this? What time period?
I was born in 1929, and I was about 6 years old, 5 or 6, when we started spending our summers at Magnolia Park. The year that, now my daddy got sick when I was 10 years old. He had a massive heart attack, and he was in the hospital for a long time. And then he was in the bed with nurses and everything. It was about 6 months, I guess. And then he had to start slowly learning how to walk all over again. And it was a different lifestyle, really, after he got sick. And he didn't go to work anymore. But it was nice. He was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents were always there. And things were nice. I really had a very normal childhood. Not like a lot of people I know, they can have all kinds of things different. But mine was very good.
Was there anything specific you remember about like medicine or medical stuff? I mean, it's different now, obviously. Like, how was it different back then?
Well, yes, I do remember one thing because, I don't know, the doctor we had always took a blood test for some reason to find out how to treat you. He would stick your finger and get blood and give you some kind of medicine. They didn't have antibiotics. Penicillin was discovered during World War II, I think maybe right before, I'm not sure, penicillin. And then during the war, they had sulfur, so that I can remember that for infection.
What was it called?
Sulfur, S-U-L-F-A, I guess. And the sulfur drugs, everybody, I mean, you would know what that is. Whoever's reading this would know what sulfur drugs are.
And they just came out or something?
They were fairly new, but they were available. But penicillin didn't become available until World War II. When Roosevelt was president, I think it was right before World War II. I'm not real sure, but they didn't have penicillin. But they had clinics. You didn't have to go to the hospital for everything. Like they would have clinics, like my ear doctor. I can remember having to have my ears lanced several times, but they did it in the clinic, and they gave me gas. So it was like, in some ways, like a mini hospital, but they called them clinics, and they were just part of the doctor's facility.
And I guess they had sleep, like the pain medicine or.
Pain medicine was mostly aspirin, and then they had phenobarbital later. I don't know if they had it.
When did Vicodin come around?
Vicodin, I really don't know when Vicodin came out. I have no idea. I know it was out when I had my surgery on my arm, which was 30 or 40 years ago, but it's been out longer than that. I really don't know the exact year that Vicodin came out. First experience I had with it was Vicodin. Really, it was...
Maybe that was during Vietnam.
I am trying to think. When I took Vicodin and it made me... I was totally allergic to it. Well, I mean, it depressed me or something. I think I cried for a week. And it was my arm, actually, when I had my arm operated on when I had cancer. and they did all that surgery on my arm.
So you took, when did you have cancer?
It was about 30 years ago. I had a melanoma, a level 4 cancer, is that, level 4 melanoma. But they did radical surgery on my arm, and I'm still here.
Got it.
Which no dermatologist can believe, that I'm still around after 30 years after that.
That's because you're a strong lady.
But, yeah, I know, and they don't do that radical surgery anymore, which seems so silly to me, because people die from melanomas in a year or two. And I'm still living in 30 years, and it was very, very serious melanoma. The pathologist said it was the worst he'd ever seen.
And like anesthetics were normal?
Anesthetics? No. They've changed. Yeah, definitely changed for like, when I had my ears lanced, they'd give me gas, and it was really bad because you had horrible nightmares with it. I think it affected my sleep pattern for years. They don't do that anymore. Well, they do when you have a baby, but it's different. They don't actually put you to sleep. But they did then, and it did affect your sleeping habits. It did mine anyway. What's your next question?
Next one is, you're giving me good stuff though, Grandma.
What?
You're giving me good information.
You're beginning to get information. Would you like any more?
No, I said you're giving me good stuff. But
Oh, I'm glad.
okay, the next
I'm
one is
glad.
So was school available? Like
What schools are available?
Like what schooling did you go to?
Well, I went to kindergarten, elementary school, which it was called grammar school when I went to school. It wasn't called elementary; it was called grammar school. And then high school. They didn't have. I only went to 11 years of school at that time. They added the 12th year, I think, when I was a senior. And actually, what they added was 8th grade. But I basically didn't go through 8th grade. And I graduated when I was 17 from high school. And then I went to LSU and majored in education. But I did my practice teaching in elementary education. So basically, I'm certified more for elementary education than anything else. I took 1 million education courses for elementary education.
Was it how old? What year was it when you went to LSU?
I went in 46. I graduated in high school in 1946, and then I graduated from LSU in 1950. And I taught.
You graduated. When did you graduate?
What did I what?
When did you graduate from LSU?
1950.
Oh, 50. I thought you said 60. I was like, dang, Grandma, it took you forever.
No, 50. And I taught school, first grade in lab school, and I taught 3rd grade in Baton Rouge. And then I substituted, but that's basically the extent of my teaching career. And then I taught at Mother's Day Out in later years.
Did it make a difference about you being a girl?
A girl? Not in teaching. The teaching profession was basically for girls. But I'm sure it made a difference in a lot of things, but it didn't make a difference in teaching. And I was a Girl Scout leader, and I had a brownie troop. And that's about all I did. In teaching and in Scouts. And I stayed home and raised 4 children.
I'm typing while I'm
I didn't work after that. I started having children, and I had 4, and I stayed home with. So, what's next?
Are you getting bored?
No, I'm not getting bored. I don't want you to get bored.
Oh no, I
You
know.
have, have to tell me what you want.
No, you're doing
I mean,
you're doing fine. So what are there things that are different now in schooling than it was back then?
Oh, other things that are different. There are a lot of differences. For one thing, we had to. The teachers had to eat in the cafeteria with the children and sit at the table with them and make sure they had good manners. Whereas I don't think teachers sit with their children anymore in the cafeteria. I think the kids throw food and have fights and whatever else they want to do. That's different. And when I went to school and taught, it was more progressive education. But it went out about 2 or 3 years after I got out of school. They don't do that anymore. They taught in units.
Did they?
And
do they do, what is it called? Corporal punishment?
Corporal punishment? No, it's against the law in Louisiana.
Oh, so they didn't hit you on the bottoms or spank you or anything?
No, it was against the law. I think the law said you could shake them or something. I'm not sure about that. That may be wrong. You couldn't really do much to them at all. Yeah, but may stand them in the hall or something. I had a couple of. I know one thing that's new. They were not diagnosed with ADD, or ADHD, and I had a few of those in my class that would be diagnosed as ADHD now. But they didn't diagnose them back then. You just had to put up with them.
That's funny.
That was not heard of when I was in school. Like I say, you just had to put up with them.
What about like blacks? We all separated, obviously.
What about what?
Like black people and separated and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, there was definitely separation and all of that. They had their own schools, and they even had, which is very silly, in stores like water fountains colored in white. Had separate water fountains for colored people and separate for the white, and which is like they don't do that now. It's very silly. But separate bathrooms, separate everything.
What did you go to, public or private school?
I went to Catholic school and elementary school, and most of elementary, not all of it, but most of it, about 80%, 90%. And then I went to public school and high school. The last grade in elementary and high school, I went to public school.
Do you remember the name of your high school?
Bolton High School. And my elementary school, and my elementary, you want to know the name of that?
Yeah, you can tell me. It doesn't matter.
Well, it was at Providence Academy and West End was the public. I can tell you every teacher I had if you would like to know.
No, it's okay. We can do the next question though.
All right.
So what was there, like a fire department, grocery store, drugstore, clothing store, Walmart, etc.? Like what were all the stores that were around you?
Well, they had A&P and Piggly Wiggly, and drugstores were mostly private, and I can't remember the name of them. One of them was Bridges Drugstore. that's not the one we used the most. The one we used, I can't remember. That's,
The call just ended.
what do you mean?
Like, you
On
know,
your phone?
mine, like when service gets bad.
I don't know.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. What were you saying? No, I asked about your postman.
The postman used to deliver the mail, and they delivered packages just like they do now, really.
Did you have a?
We had a big
Did you have a Walmart?
No. We had Woolworths and Cresses and
What were the names of those places? Say
Grants, I think. I think Grants, Grants, and Cresses, Cress, Kresses, and Woolworth. They still have those stores. And then we had the big department stores. I already gave you that, though, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are like we used to call them the 5 and dime. And then later we had a Morgan and Lindsay. When your mom was little, they used to walk to Morgan and Lindsay. And we had a TG and Y. Now that's the stores. Didn't I give you the grocery stores?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gave me Grants and Cresses and Woolworth. And the department store.
Those are not grocery stores. Those are like we used to call them 5 and dime stores. They're like Woolco, I guess. What do you have now? You have Woolworth and Grants now.
What are those? I don't know what those like thrift stores.
They're like 5 and 10 cent stores.
Oh.
That's what they used to call them.
Oh, like dollar
5 and
stores,
dime.
kind of, but cheaper.
Kind of like, well, I guess like Woolco, or not like Walmart in a way, but things were real cheap there.
Mm-hmm. Like dollar stores, right? Like Dollar General and stuff.
No, well, dollar, but it was more like 5 and dime.
Right.
I guess it was more like a dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, but it was called a 5 and 10 cent store. But it would be a dollar store now. But they were big. They had a lot of everything. They weren't just a dollar. I mean, they had things that for any price, but they were cheaper. It's more like, I guess in some ways, more like a Walmart. Y'all don't have any dime stores now left?
No, not at all.
No Cresses, no Grants, no Woolworth?
We have vending machines.
No, you can't get clothes out of vending machines. These had clothes, and these had everything. Clothes, kitchenware, flashlights, and huge big things of candy. Like they had movies, and then in the Cresses, they had like the big glass things in it with different kind of candy in each one, and a huge popcorn, well, not that big a popcorn machine, but you could get a tremendous bag of popcorn at these stores for 10 cents, and then they were more when you went to the movie. So most people would go there, and you could take them in the movies. Now you can't now. People would go there and get their candy and popcorn because it was cheaper than the movies, and they were right across the street. So you would get your popcorn and your candy and go eat it in the movie.
That was something you did for fun, huh?
Movies, yeah, and eating popcorn. And now we didn't go to movies in the summer. In the summer we swam, and well, I mean, you went to movies occasionally, but mostly we swam and listened to records and danced and that type of thing. Played games. We played a lot of games, which people don't do now. We played Monopoly, which they still have. We had the first original Monopoly set, but I don't know what Mama did with it. We had a lot of stuff there. on the back porch and those cabinets, but I don't know what happened to all of it. Somebody has it, but I don't. So, what else would you like to know?
I was just asking about the fun. You already told me a lot of what you did for fun, though, stuff, so,
Well, we did for fun movies and skating. We had skating rings and summer swimming, and we had like little parties too, which a lot of that was fun. Little parties at people's houses, and we had a lot of those. And we walked a lot, and we had bicycles. We rode bicycles every Saturday. I used to ride. This friend of mine would ride a bicycle, get one of those big caramel suckers. We used to call them a black cow. And great big caramel sucker, and eat that sucker and ride our bicycles all over for a long, long time. And we had a park. They had a nice park in Alexandria. Several parks, really, and we had a zoo and park.
So you mostly played outside, huh?
Mostly outside, yes. And then, well, sometimes we stayed in and listened. Tuffy and I stayed in and listened to records and rocked. I used to rock and listen to records a lot. Music. And radio, but I was about 10 years old when we got our first radio. The people next door had one before we did, and you didn't have air conditioning, you kept your windows open, so if we had our bedrooms were on that side of the house, and we could listen to their radio through the windows. So we had a lot of social things like little parties. People don't do that much now. Mm-mm. Even like ice cream parties or something like that.
All right.
And we did play cards. We didn't play bridge that much, but we played cards. We played Battle and Casino and Go Fish and things like that. We did that a lot. And bingo, we had bingo. They had the bingo places.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think what else. Or do you need any more?
No, I don't need any more. You gave me a lot. What,
So what's next?
Did religion play a role in your growing up?
Oh, yes. Religion played a very big role in my life when I was growing up. I went to Sunday school every Sunday. And then when I got older, I went to church, and then I worked. I was with the youth. It used to be called the YPSL. Now they call it the youth group. And that was on the Altar Guild. And I spent a lot of time at church. And I kept the nursery. And
you kept the what?
The nursery for the babies, the children. All the parents were in church. I did that until just a few years ago. But not necessarily on Sundays, or they have 3 services, like go to one and then keep them the other 2 services.
So when you were, growing up, like as a little, like when you were younger, I guess church was probably.
When I was younger, I played with. How young? Like real young?
I mean, I guess just growing up, just growing up.
Growing up, I played with it. There weren't that many children in our neighborhood. Well, there were. We used to kick the can in the street, and played games in the evening, I guess, at night. It seems funny, but we did. That was our big thing, to play after dark. It was so exciting to play outside after dark. We did that a lot. when we weren't at the swimming at Magnolia Park, but this is during the time that we were in town. I don't know, we had friends that came over, and I played a lot with the little children in the neighborhood. I like playing with children all the time.
So, but you...
I mean, I've always liked playing with children.
But your parents were big about going to church? Or your family was big about going to church?
No, not my parents didn't go. We had Sunday school. They took us, my daddy took us to Sunday school and took my mother to church, but he didn't go to church. He was raised a Catholic, both of my parents were. And then my mother became an Episcopalian, so I went to Catholic school, but I was raised an Episcopalian. I've always been an Episcopalian. I was baptized a Catholic, but I never really attended the Catholic Church, other than going to Catholic school, and we went to church there. I've always gone to the Episcopal Church.
The last question is, I don't know if you're weird about it. The last question is, like, the topic of, like, death and dying as you get older, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Does death get scarier as you got older? The idea of death?
Not really. Absolutely does not it's not scary to me. I feel like I'm going to go to heaven and see the people I've lost, and I'm 84. I feel like I've lived my life, so I'm really not afraid of death.
Has it ever scared you?
Yes, it did scare me in younger years. I was afraid of it. Just a minute. What? Yeah, like this. Just a minute. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, we almost finished. Lindsay's interviewing me. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's Lisa. She said you're so pretty.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
So, what else did you want to know?
That was the last thing, was just about death and how you felt about it.
Wait, just a minute. What? I should feel great, she says. Oh, well, thank you. She said I should feel great that I was a role model for you. Is that true?
Of course you are. You're the only old lady I know.
You're my sweetheart. You're my sweetheart.
I
love you very much.
Thank you, Mama.
And I can't wait to see you. Well, if you fly, I won't get to see you. If you drive, well, I'll see you Christmas, but I'm trying to arrange to spend a few days at your house.